Hello again, and welcome to my reading of my fanfiction Identity Quest. I am a servant of Krishna on Archive of Our Own, a servant of Goranitai on YouTube, and Katisha on fanfiction.net. Excuse me. Oof. So, where were we? Right. We just did chapter 7, in which, well, yeah. So for all this time, we spoke to Krishna. Nanashi was speaking to Krishna, the actual one. And now there's this other one under who is, well, Arisato Minato, or as I call him here, Yuki. Yeah, Makoto Yuki. The reason why I chose the name Yuki is, well, I personally just like the name. And, well, I also had another beautiful name for him, but this will come later. Um, right. Chapter index. Um, so as you can see, now our pieces falling into place. In pieces, an interesting family, God's plan set in motion, and three devotees of God versus underground Tokyo. Funny thing is, but that title is exclusive to AOE. No, AO3, sorry, because it's too long for fanfiction net. I'm really starting to. I really like the AOE options. It's yeah, fanfiction.net. I won't say it's bad. That's where I started, but I don't know. I guess for different genre, um, there's different. You know, for example, on like right now in my big fat Mega Man phase, and if you look what they have on fanfiction.net, it's, well, they were good one, very good ones, but they were not finished, unfortunately. And if you look on Archives of Our Own, there are many completed work, and in my opinion, this is where they are the best writers. No, I'm not talking about me. I mean, my stuff is somebody call it, crap, and I will admit I'm not Stephen King. I'm not J.K. Rowling or her editors actually. And I'm not, you know, J.K. I'm not Mr. Tolkien. I am just, somebody who loves to write, and who's French Canadian, and whose second language is English, but who speak it more than her main language. Okay, Chapter 8, Pieces Falling into Place. Hopefully, it won't take 2 hours. Okay. Flynn? He heard someone speak to him. Flynn! Oh, for the love of... Flynn! Wake up, you lazy dolt! The voice was grating, snobbish, and very familiar. Where did I hear it last? He wondered. Was it in Mikado? Yes, this is where I heard it last, but... Wait, no, sneaking in Tokyo, mad with anxiety, persecuted by angels? No, it can't be. Flynn's eyes flew open as he gasped for breath, his lungs painfully empty. He coughed a few times, trying to get some air in. Eventually, his spasm calmed down enough that he could look around. It was definitely the Tsukiji Hongwanji. Yes, I'm losing the Japanese name. Because, okay, the main reason why I prefer the Japanese name for those places because in English translation, as you all know, we call the divine power the divine power. Thing is, the divine power, it's not Krishna of the divine power, because then that would be Durga. Durga's other name is Krishna or Krishna. Yeah, the feminine name of Krishna has a long A at the end. So what I think happened in the actual Shin Megami Tensei is that they all got trolled by Maya. That was not the actual Krishna, that was Maya, dressed as her big brother, as her twin brother Krishna. Yes, Durga and Krishna are twins. Oh no. If you really want to see how everything works together, just read the Srimad Bhagavatam or just read the Krishna book. There's like so many insights on pretty much everything. Um, so divine power in Sanskrit is Divya Shakti, or and Divya Shakti, that's either Radharani or Durga. So in our case, divine power really meant Durga, because that was not a real Krishna, guys. Because the real Krishna, well, he has a schedule to appear at a certain interval, and I doubt he was supposed to appear in. No, he's was not predicted to appear in 2030 something in underground Tokyo. And no, Krishna, you cannot steal Krishna. The only way to steal Krishna is if you have love of you in your heart, love for him. Mother Yashoda could tie Krishna's belly when he was a baby, and his Krishna's pure devotees tied the Lord with their love and devotion in their heart. But I doubt such a flimsy seal as the one under the well would have kept the Lord in. Okay, maybe I didn't speak in the yeah. Sorry if I sounded too far. For some reason I decided to aim my head another way. Anyway, so I will call the divine power the polytheistic alliance because I found it hilarious that Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, the one true God, is the head of the polytheistic alliance, which is why there are more than one God. Okay, so yeah, Tsukiji Hongwanji. It was definitely the Tsukiji Hongwanji. The choking smell of incense and sweet blood met his nose. Wait, blood? No, the Tsukiji didn't smell that bad. And it smelled very near also. Flynn opened his eyes. The room he was kept in was unnaturally dark, and he could feel the choking, menacing, heavy, looming presence of the white and another body beside him. He could also see a green blob floating in front of his eyes. The thing looked like he was sporting a pompadour, and his acid green glow was the only source of light in the room. Oh, thank God you're awake, the thing spoke, its voice warped yet still clear enough to recognize. Oh, for a moment there I thought you'd had died. Flynn stared. Navarre, is that you? He rasped, his throat painfully dried. The ghost stared, clearly surprised. You can see me? Flynn nodded as he sat up. Navarre, you died, he whispered. Yet another failure, another one he did not manage to save. Flynn, the ghost of the worst samurai in Tokyo floated nearer to the grieving Messiah. It's not your fault. I made a terrible decision, and I am now paying the price. Fujiwara took care of me nicely. I was just a poor fool who threw his life away. Flynn bit his lips as he lowered his eyes. First Isachar, and his hometown, then Koga and her team, the children of Reverse Hill, and now this. Oh dear, I think you broke my vessel, Green Bean. Green Bean, spoke the other presence in the room. Then he chuckled. Broke my vessel. Oh, I need to write that one down. Flynn turned toward the other spirit. It was in the form of a man in his 40s. He wore a beige business suit, had long wavy hair that had turned a tawny brown, glasses, and he seemed to radiate a type of evil that made Lucifer look like an angel. No, wait, bad comparison. Darkness flowed from around this man like black smoke from a fire, billowing and oozing around his smiling form. And that liquid darkness was not as complete as Flynn would have liked, peppering his surface, bobbing in and out were white masks. Is this the source of the white? Anywho, the being continued, I'm glad to see that you're awake, my boy. For a moment there, I thought I had killed you. Not that death is such a bad thing, I assure you. The man spoke in a gentle tone. I mean, everyone is dying to meet her. Flynn winced, and Navari made a face. Oh, come on now. It was a good one since, everyone is dying anyway, and Nix is ever here to deliver us all. Just tell me who you are, spirit, and what it is that you desire. I do not have time to entertain you. Flynn loudly rebuked the half-baked comedian. He needed to get out, to resume his quest to free Tokyo, and to euthanize his two friends. The more human ghost smiled, lost his smile, and readjusted his glasses. Party pooper. Fine, if you must know. He spread his arms wide. I am Krishna, the avatar of the universal consciousness. Some may call me God, the one, the truth. I am all, and I am nothing. You look different, Krishna informed. His memories of the event that had transpired may have been blurry at best, but the samurai sharply remembered Krishna to be a scrawny-looking youth with blue hair, dark skin, and a red and white mark on his forehead, and not a ghost. Of course I look different, for I am all. Right now, I look like Ikutsuki. Sorry if I messed up the name. And I am also you. For you see, everyone is me, my fragment. The ghost then began to morph, cycling through faces and bodies. Some Flynn knew, some he didn't. I am the expanse, the avatar of humanity's collective consciousness. Krishna is but my mouth. The thing, the source of all the white, spoke with 1,000 voice. No, I cannot do 1,000 voice, guys. But your show of callousness has opened yet another possibility for us. For you see, destruction, rendering all matter back to its original state, was not the answer. The merging of all souls into the one is true salvation. A shiver went up Flynn's spine as he instinctively reached for his gauntlet, only to find it missing. He then heard a small moan beside him. Flynn looked and stifled a small gasp. Beside him, on the bed Flynn had occupied, was Krishna, or whoever this person was. His skin was clammy. A tacky yellow liquid flowed from his mouth and nose, and there was a few tendrils of darkness swirling around his chapped lips. His eyes were half opened, his pupil dilated, and he was breathing like a dying man. What happened to him? It was the only thing Flynn managed to say at the sight. This young Yaksha, my current vessel, has been fighting me for years. His body unable to hold my awesome power. The seal of Mother Nyx can only hold so much, and now he is breaking. The thing spoke with disgust. I only need him to be alive for 7 more days. And it is where you come in, O descendant of Danu. What? Navarre exclaimed loudly, reminding everyone of his presence. The dark present didn't even give the deceased any more attention than he would an ant. You see, O semigod, your body is used to channel an amazing amount of powers beyond what a mere human and a mere yaksha can take. The crawling chaos explained like one speak of a good pair of boots. You want my body. A wave of revulsion flooded Flynn. Of the entire thing that had happened, this one took the cake. Just for some time. The full moon is when the fragment of Nyx will be at her strongest. Once she has rejoined with her body, Mother Nyx will bestow upon us the glorious gift of death. And once all the souls are freed from their prison made of flesh, then we shall all return to one. The shadowy being explained as he rippled with rapture. Oh, how nice will it be! No more variety, no more conflict, no more pain, only the sweet bliss of oneness. Flynn felt hopeless. He knew he could not escape from this mad demon. Well, okay, basically, Flynn is facing Erebus. Yeah, spoiler. And yet, you and I cannot become one. Oh, most cruel of my parcels. The masked darkness coiled into itself, clearly upset at this surprising development. You have taken shelter in an animalistic god, a half lion, half man. This creature has been preventing us from merging for the last hour or so. A wave of relief covered the other revulsion that had manifest, and Flynn realized that his, let's call it a vision, was true. This god was protecting him. He didn't remember taking shelter of the god, though. So, will you let me go? They said, you cannot get what you desire. Keeping me would be useless. The samurai tried to negotiate. He needed to continue his quest. Lack of heartbeat be damned. The condensed shadow manifested an eerie mask and gazed at the samurai with hollowed eyes. No, I'm afraid I cannot do that, O samurai of false hope. You shall not trick the last of humanity with more lies. He spoke with chilling words. You are still of use to us. What type of use? Flynn had to know. He had been in the dark for too long. The more knowledge he had, the better he could act. The congealed form of negative desires crawled toward the bed in which the samurai and the dying youth laid. You, O descendant of Danu, have amassed an amazing array of powers, including the power to salvage a dying man. A tendril of gloom stretched from the main body to caress the agonizing Yaksha's cheek. While I cannot use you as a vessel, you may still maintain whatever life remain in my puppet. Only for a week, nothing more. After that, you, along with all the tortured soul, will attain ultimate salvation. A shiver went up Flynn's spine. He was powerless. He had neither weapon nor demons at his disposal. Worse yet, his gauntlet was gone, so he could not communicate with Isabeau or anyone, in fact. He glanced back at the dying Yaksha. Flynn could follow the order of this, let's call him Ikutsuki, for now, and maintain the scrawny youth as he tried to figure out how to get out of this nightmare, or he could not do anything and let Krishna die. He clenched his fist. I refused. I will not play your game, demon, he growled, and then a wave of dizziness crashed upon him as he heard someone chuckling at the other side of the expensive room, covered by the unnatural darkness. I don't think so, brother. Your life is mine. Now we cooperate or else. No, I cannot do Dagda's. I cannot do an Irish accent. Sorry, guys. The Celtic god Dagda threatened, revealing himself from a corner in the room. Flynn remained uncowed, and instead leered at the Celtic god with steely eyes. I am not afraid of death. I would rather die than help a madman. The skeletal son of Danu gave a chilling smile. Yeah, I might not be afraid of that, hero, but take a guess at how Tokyo will react for you to expire for good. Flynn clenched his fist tighter. Ideally, the people of Tokyo would take up arms and fight in his memory, but ideally rarely meant realistically. He knew how many of who were practically worshipping the ground he walked on. Not only that, but he was the chosen one. What happened when the chosen one dies before his mission is complete? Flynn gritted his teeth. Fine. Wonderful! The abomination cheered, reverting to its form of Ikutsuki. Just keep my vessel in a more or less operational condition for a week. It's all that will be needed from you. You will have all the facilities required for your task, including some decent meal and some fresh water. Then the human-shaped abomination smirked, his glasses shining in the place of complete darkness. But I'm sorry, I can't give you fresh air, since this is the place where the sun doesn't shine. He burst into uproarious laughter as he dissolved back into darkness, disappearing into Krishna once more. Silence filled the room. Navari, Flynn, and Dagda all sported a face of sheer pain. This better be worth it, the skeletal father of Bridget grumbled. All right, Thrall, just do as we say, or not. It ain't like it really matters in the end, he shrugged. Just heal up the vessel as much as you can, clean him off if he leaks, that sort of things. How? Without my gauntlet? Flynn began to protest, only to have the Celtic god of knowledge mute him. You don't need a piece of metal no more. You're I guess Godslayer would be a good enough name. Neither human nor demon, neither alive nor dead. A shiver shook Flynn's spine. And ya can kill gods, even the supreme one. Ya can also use your demon skill without that piece of useless junk now. So heal away, boy. It ain't like you got any option here either. And with that, Dagda turned his heels and walked out of the now much brighter room. At that moment, Flynn never felt so helpless in his entire life. He was almost completely alone, or with only the ghost of his latest failure and a dying man for company. With nothing else to do, Flynn laid a gentle hand on the agonizing youth and, calling his innate power, healed him. So, you are not quite human then, Navarre commented as he looked at Flynn as if he had never seen him before. Nope, no, not anymore. Neither are you, Navarre. Flynn tried to smile. It must have appeared as a grimace. We have gotten ourselves in quite the trouble now, haven't we? Asked the ghost as he hovered up close to the new Godslayer. Flynn gave a self-deprecating smile. If only he hadn't taken the gauntlet right, none of this would have happened. But then the people of Tokyo would have remained without hope, and the suppressive reign of the angels would have remained. The samurai of hope sighed as he recalled the words from the healing spell. Krishna was barely breathing, and he didn't fancy staying in the same room as the putrefying corpse. I'm saving a dying man to cause an apocalypse. I wonder how Izachar would react when he comes to know. Well, he would rejoin his friend in a week's time. He just hoped he could find him in the crowd. And that's what happened to Flynn. So instead of having Nanashi, the God Slayer, now Flynn is, and to be honest, to have Flynn as a God Slayer would have been more logical. And to have Dagda be a servant or a worshiper of the white would make even more sense. Because the white, even if I'm talking outside of Vaishnav culture, in the story, Dagda just want annihilation. Or he just want to have another god, but he want himself to die. So why didn't he help the white? Why didn't he try to revive them? Why didn't he try to, I don't know, find their mask or, you know, work with them? I mean, it's not like, I don't know, sometimes there are things in plot which just doesn't make sense, and I guess that's the biggest plot hole of Shin Megami Tensei Apocalypse. Well, there's two, like, what is Krishna doing under the well if he's. And why isn't Krishna the neutral path? I mean, Krishna is a supreme neutral. He has no friends, he has no enemies. And he is partial to all. But he is not heartless, and he will reciprocate to those who will turn to him. And that's out of love. But no, they had to take the edgy path. Seriously, one of the DLC should have been joining Krishna. If that would have been here, I, a Hare Krishna, would have gathered all my cash, buy a 3DS, buy the game, buy the DLC, and whatever else is required for me to play it, and I would have played the crap out of it, and I would recommend the game to everyone I know. No, seriously. If they make Krishna a good guy, I promise you, we are, you know, the Hare Krishna are expanding like crazy around the globe. And, I think we're like 10,000 right now. No, wait, more than that. Around the globe, we're like, no, less than 1%. But Altus would have gained a whole lot more money than what they have now, that's for sure. Okay, right. Now, what is happening to our hero, Nanashi? Back in Kinshicho. Also, no, I don't know how to spell Kinshicho. I don't know how to say it also. The boss closed the door to Nanashi's room. His boy was out like a light. The event too much for him to handle. Krishna. Hari was still at his side, but with how the deity had protected his son, carrying him openly fussing over his human born boy as if the thing. Okay, I read. Oh my god, I write I'm a terrible writer. Openly fussing over his inhuman boy, as if the thing genuinely cared. Junpei was not sure what to think about the powerful shadow anymore. But one thing was for sure. He would pay a ring of Gaia to kill the thing. In his book, anything connected to Krishna was bad news, and now it was practically confirmed. Looking back at the door, the boss wondered if he should lock it from the outside. If what he did to his daughter, it's what he did to his daughter. Standard procedure after confiscating her phone and the angel that lurked in it. His fate a grim one. And yet, there was still the stubborn spark in Azahi's eyes, a will to fight, to make everything right out of sheer willpower. No, I've reread my work. I don't know how bad it got. The boss knew that this was sheer folly. It was only in those cheap, cheesy anime that love and friendship would win against insurmountable odd. What they were going through was not an anime, a game, or a novel. It was real life. And unfortunately, real life was a cold, hard bitch with a heart of iron. Oh, Chidori, what am I supposed to do now? The boss wondered as he leaned on the wall, sliding down the surface with his face buried deep in his hands. You were the one who wanted the kids. You were the one who took Nanashi in, and now look what happened. Flynn was as good as dead. An abomination that may or may not be using the body of Yuki was now ruling 1/3 of Tokyo with Sheisha, a huge flaming snake that ate souls. The beast was well on his way to clear the Shinjuku district of all life, either human, demon, or angelic in nature, and, moreover, it was his kids who had triggered the entire event. How was he supposed to react to that? He could not hide them, or they would never learn about the consequence of their act. Well, Nanashi knew, but even he was prone to bad decisions sometime. And Fujiwara was bound to learn of his kid's involvement sooner or later. He knew the leader of the hunter had a good head on his shoulder, but it didn't change the fact that the other hunter would stone them were they to learn of it. Oh, and there was also the fact that Nanashi knew Yuki, a young man who died years before his adopted son and daughter were even a twinkle in their father's eyes. Worse still, his boy was affected by his presence, as in, he had a strong emotional response to the fraud. But his response held not even a candlelight to how he had reacted when the mention of killing God had come into the conversation. And there's also two Krishna I have to worry about now. Oh, Axiom, please send some help. He prayed to the only good source of all. It had worked this morning. It had no reason to fail now. Then he felt his phone vibrate. It was his replacement. The boss speaking. What's going on? Oh, he hoped it was not yet another bad news. He had enough of those today. Boss? There's a pair of, There's a demon and a celestial who wish to speak to you. It's about a missing person. All right. Tell them I'll be right there as soon as possible. Uh, I need to, I need to warn you though. They were the same mark as Krishna, and one of them is dressed as an Indian and the other one's Akasha. The boss got up from the ground. There was no time for him to even have the world collapsed. He dusted himself up and went to meet the two strangers. When he walked into the bar, he was met with two very peculiar women. One was a young woman, no older than 20. She had blazing red hair tied in a pair of braids, a forest green dress that went to her knee, and a pair of green tie covering her leg. A scarf with the same color covered her breast. She also wore a small black bag around her neck, as with a very fancy wooden necklace with a silver lion pendant on it. She had cat ears, a pair of cat tail, and she carried with her a jewel cart transporting a duffel bag filled with floating flaming skull. Yeah, okay. So the bag was filled with skull. How did he manage to know it? They were flaming. Also, a bit of a trivia. The reason why Radhashyama Sundar or Odin Kainboru has changed dress is, well, first of all, plot hole. Second is, remember, she's a Kasha. She can smell Krishna Kripa. She can smell Nanashi. Now remember what happened at the very beginning of the story. A Dramalas ripped Nanashi's heart, drank from it, spat it out, and threw it inside the fountain. Now, Radha Shama Sundar was basically playing Greyhound and managed to find Nanashi's heart. And well, for that, you know, well, she didn't want Mukhara or Toyosatomi Mino Miko to find her son's heart or her son's body. Because, I mean, okay, I don't know if it'll be popular for someone who lost a kid who, to be able to emphasize, but those who lost their children, this is the worst pain ever. Now, just imagine you found your child, your own baby's body, or a part of your baby's body. Actually, years ago, I used to be on this forum. I won't say the name because it was, a bit illegal as a forum because it showed dead bodies. Yeah, I'm still somewhat morbid, but I was more back then because, that is very, very, it's mysterious, it's alluring because everybody's gonna die one day. And there was an old picture of this boy, it was before there was safety features on toys, and this young boy, I think 3 or 4 year old, managed to lock himself inside his toy box. And when they managed to find it, his body was covered with mushroom. Just imagine the feeling of his parents that they failed their kid. Yeah. So Radha Shama Sundar didn't want her best friend and god sister to go through that. So, okay, as Vaishnava, we like to serve one another. So in the mood of serving, she served Mukhara by going inside water, freezing cold water, because there's no sunshine, so it's freezing, and trudging inside murky, disgusting water until she found Nanashi's heart. Yep. Oh, they still have it somewhere, but it's very well closed, the somewhere they have. So obviously after that and fighting demons and they're also pretty dirty. So well, Mukara just didn't feel like changing her set of clothes because once again they have no idea how long they'll stay. But Radhashama Sundar is like, no, get me out of my wet clothes. I don't like that. Okay. So yeah, and also those skulls were supposed to be around the cart and not flaming, but I guess she wanted to make a show of her power. So, yeah, flaming evil spirit, guys. Yeah, definitely a Hellcat. The other woman looked like Nanashi. Her platinum hair stood on up like a pair of small of animal ears, and her golden eyes shone behind her specs, just like Nanashi's. She was not very tall, and was very androgynous. Only the fact that she wore a long, slightly singed violet skirt that hid her legs made her gender clear. The pink and gold blouse she wore was also very long, but it still revealed that both arms were but puppet limbs. On her hips was a golden belt, on which a golden shaku hung. No, Miko's not traveling with her sword anymore because going into, international airport meant plenty of checkpoint, and um, she just didn't feel explaining like, oh, that sword is my flag Terry, I cannot leave it at home. So basically, Mukara's sword, the Shishike Sen, is basically converted as a tattoo on her back. So if she really want to kill someone, if she really gonna face a big enemy, she's just gonna grab her at the back of her neck and pull the sword out. Once again, she's a traveling preacher. You know tricks like that. Both women were somewhat humid, and bore signs that they had fought some demons and angels. And yet, neither looked harmed. On their foreheads shone a mark similar to Tokyo's latest problem. So obviously, all the hunters had their weapon trained on the duo. The reason why for Mukara's humidity? I don't know. I made a mistake. Oh, damn it. The boss internally cursed. Could he have a moment of peace? The one that looked like Nanashi noticed the bust. You are the guild master, aren't you? She greeted with folded palms. Her voice was deep and held a natural authority. She spoke with deep concern, and yet did not seem to notice the 10 guns aimed at her and her feline partner. Yes, I am. And who are you, and why are you here? If it's to join Krishna, we will never surrender, the boss warned. The cat made a face. Ah, come on! Now you're making our job harder, she moaned. It ain't like the real one's evil, I swear, she mumbled under her breath. My name is Mukara Devidasi, and my friend here is Radhashyama Sundar Devidasi. And yes, we do serve Krishna, but not the one you know. Mukara spoke gently. It was clear she was used to diplomacy. Any Krishnas are bad news to me, the boss intoned darkly. Okay, something was added to my download queue. I don't know what that was. Oh, streams of bhakti. If you want to have something amazing and a hint of what we're doing, I would say, okay, we have a podcast called Streams of Bhakti. And yeah, if you go to your favorite podcast radio, look for it and look for the small conch. You won't regret it. It is nectarian, I'm telling you. Mokara remained impassive, and yet Junpei could feel an aura of anticipation and sorrow around her. Yes, so we have nothing to do with this fraud you call Krishna. We serve the absolute truth, ye who eternally taste playful pastime in his abode of Goloka Vrindavan. She spoke stiffly. I'm so bad at this, her whole body radiating with power. Yeah, it ain't a dead man with a fancy hat we worship. The guy ain't even blue, Radha piped in as she crossed her arms over her breast. So y'all can drop your weapon before you kill an innocent. We are already aware of what happened here, but we have absolutely nothing to do with the fake Vasudev. The regal woman licked her lip. I am here to recover my son's body, nothing more than that. A moment of silence passed as Junpei stared. The last one who had died had been Nikari and Manabu, but this woman, who was clearly not human, resembled. No, 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 she didn't have green hair. What's the name of your son and how old is he? And how does he look like? The boss asked as he gestured to his men to stand down. Those two were not enemies, not yet. He went to the bar and sat down, gesturing the two demonesses to do the same. Only Mukara complied, while the Kasha remained close to her, a comforting hand on her shoulder. So one's a grieving mother, the other one's a friend then. My son, his name was Kanzanami Krishna Kripa. He was born on the 23rd of November 2023. 15. Just like Nanashi, maybe could she be his mother? He wondered, but then he could also be a coincidence. Madame, no one of that age died today, he revealed to the bereaved mother. Mokara raised her eyes, the two golden orbs looking right through Junpei. No, I received from a very knowledgeable source that my son died this morning in this Kenshisho park. Two other souls also departed. I confirmed that two of my men died today, and then it hit him. When he had seen Nanashi that morning after the atrocious event, his boy, there had been a hole in his jumper, right over his heart, and the amount of blood that was in this location indicated that he grabbed his father's pipe. He needed to hold on to something, anything. Sir, do you have a picture of him? It would be the only way to disprove or confirm the hunch he had. But with how similar Madame Mukabra looked to him, his heart was pounding, and something told him the youthful-looking mother also felt the same. Radha reached for the duffel bag and pulled out the picture. The boss discreetly gestured for all the hunters to vacate the premise. They may be worshipping Krishna, but his gods told him that they were not the enemy. It only took 30 seconds for the bar to empty. Radha handed the computer-generated picture of Krishna Kripa, and the boss felt his heart stop. Green hair that jutted from the side of his head, brass-colored eye, a bit girly-looking. You know him, Mokara breathed out. Tell me, does he wear a belt of silver bells around his waist, one he can't remove? And does he sport a single ankle bell? The boss nodded, his right side twitching and his hair standing on end. Yes, he does, he confirmed. Do you have a picture of him? The regal woman practically begged. The boss got up from his stool and stood as menacingly as possible. But before he could open his mouth to chase away the freaking Hare Krishna cultist, she got up also. The power she radiated could not be calculated. Mr. Yori Junpei, she began, her voice commanding authority that was far exceeding his own. I don't think you understand the situation, and your hatred for our glorious movement is terribly misplaced. Misplaced? I've lost a best friend and a leader I know, and now you are afraid that you will lose your son to Krishna. Again, just know one thing, O master of this guild. In the Hare Krishna move cult, we do not poison, kill, or even hurt an ant. Oh no! You just have a perverted god running after young boys, he sneered. Mokara raised her brow. Then we are definitely not speaking about the same Krishna, she spoke most unimpressed. Then her countenance did not quite crumble, but she definitely looked on the part of a bereft mother. Listen, I'm not here to pick a fight. Please, please let me see him. Now she started to crumble. And why should I let you see my son? Junpei asked with his arms crossed. Because I saw him die 14 years ago. The judge of the dead told me he died this morning. I just want some closure. That's all. I won't take him from you. The otherworldly woman spoke with faltering voice as tears streamed down her face. Listen, bud. We came here expecting a corpse. Found his crushed heart in the park fountain. And this place, I can smell her creep everywhere. The Kasha, Radha spoke quietly as she held her crumpling friend. We know it's our baby, Mukara's baby. Please, please let us see him. If you do, we'll take care of that fake Krishna, both of them. Some hope shone in the boss' heart. Why should I trust you? 'Cause we're honest to God Vaishnavis, and we absolutely hate false incarnation with a burning passion. The Hellcat growled, showing off some of her demoniac features. Trust me, boss. Once we're through with the fraud, I'm bringing him to hell personally. The boss looked at the blazing cat and Mukhara. All right, just be quiet, and if you can get rid of this Krishna also, I would be much obliged. The boss spoke with gravity. He didn't have to tolerate that particular problem anymore. He just hoped Nanashi would forgive him one day. Back in Nanashi's room, the son of Mukhara kept dreaming, remembering his past life as Aegis. The next day, Junpei had driven the Gynoid to the Hare Krishna temple, eager to break Yuki out of the crazy cult. The gangly young man had elected to remain in the car, in case Aegis needed some backup. When they had arrived at the venue, Aegis could not help but notice that there was no trace of the apathy syndrome, and an air of peace and bliss permeated the Japanese house like a pleasant comforter. Once inside, this feeling intensified a thousandfold. She had met the one who had answered the phone and was brought to a cozy waiting room with a shelf filled with books. Finally, Yuki came in the room with an imposing man wearing saffron cloth, a big stick wrapped in orange cloth, and a fatherly bearing. So I give my humble obeisances to my spiritual master, whom has given me the power to write so much. Personally, I have no skills. I tend to have white pages, but by his mercy only have I written so much. Many people may not like what I write, and I will admit that's filled with plot holes. I have a terrible grammar and a slew of other things. But so far, I have written over 14 chapters, all more or less 15 to 17 pages, and that's not speaking about the other fanfictions. His name is Bhakti Marg Swami, and he showed me the path of devotion. I am doing my best to traverse this path, following his footsteps, hoping that one day he may be pleased with me. Sorry. It's by Vaishnav culture, it's all about respect. It's all about seeing yourself as is the smallest atom in the universe, weak and powerless. And because you see yourself weak, you don't want to remain like that. So what do? What do you do when you're lost and in trouble? You look for help. So my help, that's him. If you want to listen to him, he's a very easy person to approach. He's very personable, very kind. He liked to make friends. He's the friendliest person around. He walked Canada 4 times, and he also walked across the US from coast to coast. He did Trinidad, Nigaya, he walked the Mauritius Island, and of course he did pilgrimage in India. And when he walks, he's not doing fundraiser, he's doing friend raiser. He's not a preacher, he's a friender. And yeah, he has a blog, he has vlog. Um, he makes play. Yeah, he plays as in theater, and he's very good. Like anyway, that's my guru Dev. I know I'm not supposed to reveal my guru, but how can I not show someone who has such mercy? Anyway, Yuki was not in his usual dress. Instead, he wore white cotton cloth the Hare Krishna monk would wear. He had his right hand in a bag, and whatever grief he may have felt was gone. His eyes were cleared, and he looked happy. The man introduced himself as Rupanuga Swami from Canada, Yeah, I changed his name. It's actually Bhaktimarg Swami. But the biggest difference with Rupanuga Swami is that Rupanuga Swami know how to speak Japanese. So the story of Rupanuga Swami is that he loved Japanese no theater, and he's also into theater himself, and thus he learned Japanese to go into, to look into ancient text. That was at a time where, nothing was translated, and Japan was, you know, it was on the map, but we had like nothing, no anime. Actually, I think the only anime we had was Crayon Shinshan, and I may be very wrong about that. No anime, no mangas, no books, no internet. So he managed to learn Japanese course. He even made some Japanese friend. And one day he took a trip to Japan, and one day he met the Hare Krishna on the street in Canada. And those Hare Krishna devotees, they were nice. And a few months later, he joined the temple in Toronto. And then the rest is history. But because he was very fluent in Japanese. His spiritual master, that we all call Srila Prabhupada, sent him to preach in Japan. So um, that's one of the area he goes to, and he was so friendly and personable that while there was some struggle, um, the Japanese yatra or the Japanese congregation really bloomed, especially with all the plays, with all the masks. Because once again, while he embraced the Japanese theater culture, he showed that yes, if you put ancient Vedic, um, ancient Vedic stories in with kabuki, oh boy, the demon looked demonic, the action looked wild. You have people flying on the stage. It is amazing. So yeah, that's the story of Rupa Goswami. The one of my spiritual master is different, obviously, but yeah, that's my flower at his feet. I give my humble obeisances unto him. And what you read right now, if those who appreciate it, that's because of him. I'm otherwise I'm even worse at writing. The strange the strange man introduced himself as Rupa Goswami from Canada. His accent surprisingly impeccable for an outsider. He then explained that he had been on the one who saved Yuki from a suicide attempt. Rupanuga Maharaj had thought it wise to bring the young man with him to the temple, at least until he could reach whatever help was there in Japan for those desiring to end it all, only to learn that there was nothing of the sort. Aegis could only nod at as the effulgent man spoke with an overwhelming amount of love and compassion. When Censor told her that his power was beyond anything in the world, he appeared to be in this world, but not of this world, and Aegis desired, she wanted to, surrender to him. Yuki had remained all night at the temple, and Rupanugoswami had given the young man a good scolding about how foolish and blasphemous to commit such an act is, for it would only have given Yuki a ghost body and more suffering, and that no one was worth killing oneself of, over. Yeah. So, if you read the Garuda Purana, which you can find online by the way, there's a description of how one get a ghost body and also all the hells and things like that. Truth be told, it's 100% true. Ghosts do exist. And no amount of pain, grief, depression, death, illness, a mental illness, whatever, is a good reason to kill yourself. Even if you're about to die in a week, wait! Yes, you're in pain now. But if you kill yourself now, you're still going to you're going to be in a ghost body, tortured with hunger, surrounded by beings, by demons, by other ghosts, hobgoblin, all of those exist. We may not see it with our eyes, because human eyes can see very little. Just a fraction of the light spectrum that we can see. It's not even 10%, guys. I mean, so ghosts do exist. Actually, in the temple I am right now, we had one room which we had one ghost, one confirmed ghost, and the person who told me that story, um, she said that she didn't believe a ghost was there until she was attacked by it. And how does a ghost attack you? Well, in the middle of the night, um, when you're awake and you cannot move, that's because you're being possessed by a ghost, and the ghost is trying to enjoy your body. And how do ghosts possess people? You drool. You go unclean. You go to bed unclean. You don't wash your face. You don't wash your hands. And actually, I've had this happen to me, and it's a pretty scary experience. Other people will feel something sitting on their chest and choking them. And for her, that's what happened. So, for those who believe what I just said and have ghosts, you know what you do to chase them away from good? You chant Hare Krishna. That's literally what they did. You chant Hare Krishna. You chant the glories of Krishna because a ghost cannot handle God. Because a ghost is envious. Of course, if they are pious ghosts, truth be told, they will try to serve the Lord. They will give their obeisances, but those who are envious of the Lord, like most of them, they will go away. Demons, ghosts, all that is negative cannot handle it. And also blow a conch shell, get yourself Ganges water, and just to be safe, go to your local Hare Krishna temple, get something called Mahaprasadam, and offer it to the ghost, and even invite some devotees at your place to chant Hare Krishna. So the ghost will have prasadam. Don't eat it, even if it looks delicious. Have some for yourself though, and the ghost will attain liberation. Even better if it's Jagannath Mahaprasadam. Okay, so yeah, don't kill yourself. It's okay. It will pass. Don't listen to your mind. Alright? If you feel that there's nothing to enjoy in this world, you're right. You don't have to force yourself. But don't kill yourself. There is a path out. It's the path I took. It's the path trillions of people around the universe has taken, from planet Earth to the highest planetary system, and it is the path of bhakti. Once you practice it, you have an eternal goal in life. You sing, you dance, you feast, and the amount of joy you feel, it's exponential. Even if you feel yourself the lowest person on the planet, trust me, that's just, you will still feel extremely happy about that. It doesn't make any sense, but it's true. Because you realize that even if you're the lowest person on the planet, God loved you so much that He arranged for you to find this obscure video, to hear that, to be moved, and then to look for help. Also, do look at hotline. No, I'm too lazy to look for those hotline, but I know that they are suicide hotline where you live. Call them. Speak to them. People will listen to you. There's a saying that says God help those who help themselves, and I tell you it's true. If you're helping yourself toward the Lord, trust me, do the needful, and Krishna will remove whatever is in your way. Don't kill yourself though, otherwise that'd be very stupid. And devotees who kill themselves, that's the same thing, they become ghosts. And it's even worse, it's very stupid to be honest. Because our body belongs to God. God doesn't want us to destroy ourselves. Actually, even the avatar of God, who looked to be the most miserable, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, um, in his mood of separation from the Lord, he spoke to Sanatan Goswami, another one of his devotees who also wanted to commit suicide. And he says, hey, listen, if suicide would let you go to God quickly, don't you think I would have given up thousands of my bodies? But no, I maintain my body. I maintain the sinful. He was in the mood. God was in the mood of a devotee. His body was not sinful. That's just the mood he projected. Even if this useless sinful body, I maintain it because it belongs to God. It belongs to my Krishna. So that's the mood. Your body is not yours, no matter what they try to say. It's not your body. It's not just your body. Your body is a beautiful, wonderful, powerful vessel meant to go out of this material world, back home, back to Godhead. It is so rare that for you to gain that it is the greatest of sin to put it to waste. So don't waste this lifetime. You are worth better than that. I know you don't feel like that at the moment. I know you feel terrible because of the COVID, because of family members, because of illness, because of pain, because of. Listen, it's temporary. This material world is filled with that, and no matter what you do, you will still be in it. But I don't want you to be in it. I'm sending you a rope with a handle on it so that you may take the handle and that I may give it to our Prabhupada, the other end to our Prabhupada and Parampara, so that we may take you out of that hole. Yeah, the world outside is scary. Yes, there's suffering and death. Yes, material existence, working so hard like you've done for all your life, looking for a job, maintaining family, making debt, you're trying to survive the COVID crisis. Yes, it's terrible, but don't give up. Chant Hare Krishna. Pray to the Lord and the Lord will answer. I promise. But don't ask him and you can ask him anything material, but don't always ask him. Ask the Lord to serve. Ask the Lord, please, may I serve you? I want to serve you. And believe me, once you say, Krishna, I'm yours, and you mean it, you're out. But you have to be willing to sacrifice something. But trust me, this sacrifice, you will gain more than when you sacrificed. I sacrificed my entire being. And you know what? I've gained more than what I could ever calculate. Anyway, I love you, whoever is listening and reading to this. I love you like you have no idea. You've been reading and hearing what I've been writing. And it's not so good, I admit. It's very preachy. It can be very heavy at times. My words are not good. My voice is terrible. I have a terrible accent. And yet here you are at video number 8. So, yeah, let's keep going. Sorry for this outpour of love. Outpour of love. That's kind of a big thing to say right now. So, yeah, it was not worth it. Yuki had also expressed his desire. Yuki had remained all night at the temple, and Rupanuga Swami had given the young man a good scolding about how foolish and blasphemous to commit such an act was, for it would only may have given Yuki a ghost body and given him more suffering, and no one is worth killing yourself over for. Yuki had then also expressed his desire to become a Hare Krishna. He had read the book, and he had found the answer he had been looking for all his life. With how happy he looked, Agnes could not say no. She still requested a copy of the book was reading, the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and the Sri Sopanishad, translated and commented by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yes, the books exist. Please read it. You won't regret it. With how happy... Okay, when they finally exited the temple, Yuki was in his normal clothes. But even then, Junpei had acted as if their leader had been brainwashed by the other crazy cultist. Real talk, yes, I did went through lots of brainwashing, and you know what? Oh my god, it was so much junk in there. There is still so much junk in there. And you know what? I don't identify as someone who got wronged by the medical system and put into medical school and drugged up to the wazoo because they thought, oh, she's Aspergered. No, I'm a spirit soul. What happened was because I made some mistake in the past, and right now I'm getting out of it. Big deal. I'm a spirit soul. I'm not this body. It's not quite realized, but I will with time. Many people have realized it. Many people have shown it. Or Srila Prabhupada, he was seemingly dying and he was still translating because he knew this body is basically just a meat puppet. And as long as we desire to serve the Lord, that meat puppet can do amazing things. Like walking on water. Yes, Jesus Christ is a servant of Krishna. Him walking on water, yeah, big deal. Yogis can do that. Because yogis are somewhat worshipping the Lord, even if it's impersonal. Jesus, all of Jesus' miracles, he's a servant of God. Reviving the dead, yes, I'm not saying Jesus is not good. I'm just saying, you worship the Lord, nothing is impossible. Srila Prabhupada at age 70 conquered the earth, and his movement, um, almost 40 years after his departure from this world, is still going on, is still going strong, and nothing will destroy it. Nothing at all. So, you know, yeah, sorry, that was a bit off tangent. And yeah, you're talking to a brainwashed woman. Well, this brainwashing is still going on, but how bad can it be if it makes you happy, right, guys? Okay. When they finally exited the temple, Yuki was in his normal clothes. But even then, Junpei had acted as if their leader had been brainwashed by the other crazy cultists, ragging on and on about how he needed to be normalized and deprogram whatever they had ingrained in his brain. Also, we had a problem with another cult called the deprogrammers. We're talking they would actually kidnap people from the temple and torture them to make them accept Christian teachings or eat meat, have sex, drink booze, take, what you guys think is normal, we think is abnormal. And you know what? You don't need those things. Us Hare Krishna, I mean, they've been people who has followed that for like more than 100 years. They've been doing this since the time they were born. And did they look unhappy? Oh no. Absolutely not. They have great health, great happiness, great bliss. You know, if you don't if you don't abuse of the good thing in life, you won't get sick. But of course, because we're in a society of over consumerization, well, everybody's sick, everybody's overweight, everybody's dying, and everybody's depressed. Anyway, you may do it, you may not do it, whatever. Okay, I guess, can you protect me from Junpei? Yuki had asked, with a little more than a little scare at his friend's reaction. The gynoid nodded at the request, and when they had arrived at the campus, the combat droid had all but whisked away Yuki to his room and locked the door, barricading herself and her master from the now clearly insane Junpei and his thoroughly inappropriate reaction. Thankfully, Mitsuru and Akihiko-senpai had intervened. And Yuki in all of this? Completely focused on the holy scripture he had received from the glowing saintly man Rupanuga Swami. Then the fall came and went, and then it was February the 1st. Aegis still had no idea what had happened upon the moon, but one thing was for sure, Rupa Nagaswami had been right. The end of the world was still very far away from them. Life resumed, school kept going, and Yuki kept going to the Hare Krishna temple as often as he could, followed by Aegis, of course. Not that the Jainoid minded. She quite liked the people there. They were all different, and yet a harmony prevailed. The devotees knew of a robotic nature, and while many would try to figure out how a spirit soul managed to get stuck in a mechanical body, they had soon accepted the fact that Aegis was a very special case with an exceptional karma. Nevertheless, the female population had taken a shine to her, and had dressed Aegis in saris and gopi skirt, showing her the blonde robot in front of their makeshift altar for the great pleasure of Shri Radha Govind. The deities in Japan, yes, we do have a temple in Japan. Right now it's closed. It's by the Funatube. It's outside of Tokyo. Funabu. It's close to a train line, very close. It's in the Indian part of Tokyo, close to the harbor. It's a White House and there's a cafe there. Of course, because of the coronavirus, it's closed. But no, it's if the Lord ever bring me to Japan, which is actually a dream I had since I was a small girl, and yes, after my traveling to India, I quite like taking the traveling. It's fun. Well, I would like to go there. Actually, I actually have an invitation to go to Tokyo, not Tokyo, but to Hong Kong. Hopefully, after all that crap is done. Actually, I have a friend, two friends from Hong Kong. One is a native, and the other one is an Indian who lives in Hong Kong with her husband. Yeah, I consider her like my mother. I'm sure you know this one woman and this one man who's, you have like no family relationship, no blood relationship, but he happened to be your mom or your dad. They do the job your biological one didn't do. Well, for me, that's her. I mean, for me, joining Krishna consciousness, I gave up plenty of things, but I gained an actual family. And it's an unconditional love. I could be unable to serve, and he would still love me. And I would be on my dying bed, and he will all surround me chanting Hare Krishna. They would also bring, so for the pleasure of Shishurada Govind, they would also bring her on book distribution, propagating the sacred teaching, the absolute truth, and the peace formula. Yuki would also, okay, another stop. I know I'm stopping often. Huh. If you see a Hare Krishna on the street and they want to give you a book, please take it. Well, it may seem like we are, but you are buying a book, even if we say it's a donation. Well, it's just a donation. The donation you give and the book you get, all the money goes into getting more books. Um, we're not buying weird things. We're just buying food for us to survive, some clothing for us to dress, and it's all for the service of God. And it's the book you get. If you don't like it, you can give it to somebody else. Just take a book, give a donation, give a smile, take prasadam. Yeah, sometimes we have cookies. Just take a cookie. They're good. I swear they're good. They're completely egg free. Some are vegan sometimes. Oh, and if you live in New York, do yourself a favor. To celebrate the end of the lockdown and, the vaccine and whatever, if you're in New York, we have a donut factory. Yeah, we make donut. The Hare Krishna donut. And it's so good that every time we know in Montreal that, or anywhere that somebody's going to New York, we always ask them, bring the donuts. They will be the best donut you've have eaten in your entire life. Better even than the cronut, better even than Krispy Kreme. Trust me. Okay. Right. This one then. Yuki would also follow, and while he was shy, he had also taken to book distribution and Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sorry, my voice is a bit rusted. But yeah, that's Harinam Sankirtan. So chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, publicly, for the benefit of all. Yuki had also changed his lifestyle to follow the regular tradition of Vaishnav life. He was now completely vegetarian, foregoing even eggs. He stopped taking coffee, tea, and even cola drink. He gave Junpei his computer game, telling he didn't feel the need to play them anymore, and Yuki had even removed all trace of Ryuji, saying that he was done wasting his time. And the blue-haired leader of SEES had told Aegis had told Aegis to protect him from Valentine Day. He had no interest in dating at all, neither male nor female, and no, nothing would change his mind. He would wake up at 4 in the morning, would shower, dress in fresh cloth, and would chant on his bead. The blue-haired boy was already chanting 16 rounds every day without fail. It takes around 2.5 hours to do that. It's our meditation. Even if Junpei had tried to get rid of them, his beats. Another thing Yuki did that had triggered his best friend fanatical behavior was to delete all the songs he had on his MP3 player, replacing them with devotional music, kirtan, and even more classes on the scripture called the Srimad Bhagavatam. The result of those change? A much happier Yuki and a few less friends. Not that her master seemed to mind, for he now counted the temple devotees as his new friends and family. Friend that would call him an Aegis often. Friend who'd helped him get better. As for Aegis, well, she decided to follow Yuki's example, for it gave her a purpose of life, a reason to exist beyond eliminating the now instinct shadow. Also, about the losing your friends, well, yeah, so material friendship means you have your sense gratification, and you have with a group of friends who like your own the same sense gratification as you, and you form a community. And the moment one friend is not into that, well, you just stop you know, you just stop being friend. And if you were the center of this friend's life, and he was the center of this friend's life, and you like to enjoy each other's company and senses, well, you can be best friends, but if a conflict happen, the ground of your friendship is not very sound. And even if you manage to be friends until age 90, that happened. And then you lost your friend. Anyway, so I didn't have that much friends, but you know, that's just because, okay, it's two different lifestyle altogether. Like, okay, okay. So, it's like you're into furrydom. You like to dress as a furry. So, most of your friends are furries. And you have other friends at the side, but your friendship will never be as strong as furries. You will always go around other furries because, as furries, you have your way of speaking, your way of dressing, your way of walking, talking. You have your own way to see the world. Other people have a different way to see the world. And a Hare Krishna devotee sees the world in a completely different way. We're seeing the world in a way that, if you I could try to explain you, but you'll think I'm crazy. I'm already crazy, but I mean crazier. And that's the last thing I want you. Well, you have the right to see me crazy, but don't see other Hare Krishna crazies. If you want to blame if you want to see how crazy Hare Krishna, just look at me. I'm the crazy one here. Anyway, Takeba Yukari had been less than pleased. Okay, Akihiko was apprehensive, and Mitsuru let them all be since they were both adult and thus could do as they pleased. Just please don't bring an idol in the dorm and keep it in your room, she had said. Sometime later, after he had received an abysmal test score, Yuki had expressed his desire to join full-time as a brahmachari, to remain a celibate student for the rest of his life. He didn't want to get caught up in the web of useless hard work and final death by Karashi. Of course, Aegis would follow him, for she had also found her purpose with the Hare Krishna movement, to disseminate the teaching of the great Acharya to the world at large and develop love of God, love for Krishna. Basically, she had transposed the feeling of care, protection, and affection she had for Yuki to the Supreme, a task that was fairly harder than expected but not impossible. Rupanuga Swami, the saintly man, had told her that loving God as her current stage was close to impossible, for the Lord didn't give such a gift very easily. So it was better to serve Krishna as devotee, for this pleased him the most. And thankfully, Yuki was a devotee. meaning Aegis just had to serve him as she had done for the past few months. She went with him to the festivals of Advaitacharya, then to the appearance of Lord Nityananda. She had helped Yuki as he labored in the kitchen to help for the amazing feast. The Genoid couldn't wait for the next festival, the Gora Purnima, and the appearance day of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his golden form, the most compassionate, and he who gave love of God freely. And then, okay, and also now I've noticed that I said that. Right now you're thinking, oh my god, the Hare Krishnas are crazy. Well, the whole world is crazy, honey. What do you think? I chose my poison, and it turned out to be nectar. You chose your poison, but please drink a bit of mine. I swear it's good. We're all gonna die anyway. And then, okay, and then tragedy struck. It started with a simple cough. Okay, so right now I'm in Montreal. In Montreal, we're in a red zone again. Same with all of Quebec. Because our government decided to open everything a wee bit too soon and they give a break to the Quebecers. We're back at having thousands of COVID cases every day, and we're also having around, a dozen a day, a dozen deaths a day. So I wrote that before the COVID happened. But Yuki also died from a cough. He died from the flu. It started with a simple cough and then a cold. Yuki had already gone to see the nurse. The crazy man with the dubious medicine had been fired for some reason, even if his frightful cure for the flu was the most affecting thing used to men. So instead, it was a Chinese woman with blue hair that had treated her master. Aegis didn't trust her at all. This woman kept looking at Yuki as if he was a piece of meat or an interesting specimen to add to her collection. But otherwise, Dr. Kaku had been professional and hadn't done anything to trigger Aegis' protection protocol. She had given Yuki some herbal medicine to take until he felt better. Weeks passed, and Yuki's health kept degrading. Enough for Aegis to be worried, but not enough for her to drag her master to the hospital. March 5th came. Yuki had somewhat managed to graduate with the bare minimum requirement, and he would drag himself wherever he went, looking more like a zombie than a living young adult. They went to the roof. The spring weather felt good, warm, yet with a nice cooling breeze. They sat on a bench. Yuki was pale. He would sleep most of the day and night, but he could hardly eat anything. Aegis, yes, Yuki, I'm just going to take a nap. Wake me up in 5 minutes. Yuki then laid his head in her lap, and Aegis could feel his pulse rate lower. After 5 minutes, she wondered why she didn't contact the ambulance. 10 minutes later, the other member of C's ran up the stairs. Akihiko took Yuki from Aegis' lap and brought him to his room. Why didn't I say something? Why didn't I contact the hospital? She thought. The next day, his body had turned a molted gray. Yuki had died, and Aegis had failed to protect him, to serve him. And then, his body never reached the morgue. It had been stolen. The worker that owned the place had a gap in his memory he could not explain. The rest of the team began searching for Yuki's dead body. Aegis decided that enough was enough. She went to her sanctuary, the Hare Krishna temple. There, she had met hers and Yuki's master, Rupa Goswami. She broke down at his feet, vowing to serve and protect him until his life would also end. She was his eternally. This would have been what Yuki wanted. She would serve him with awe and all the service of God in Yuki's stead. and she would do so until her current body broke down. And thus end chapter 8 of this fanfiction of the Hare Krishna fanfiction Identity Quest as written by a servant of Goranitai. Whew. Yeah. So yes, I am a Hare Krishna cultist. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Our movement is truly all about love. It's about being personal. It's about, you know, it's about relationships. Because right now, I have my relationship with the Lord, but it's a very far one. My relationship is really with the devotees. We are friends. We're a community. And I could try to explain to you what it is, but you need to try it. Because as George Harrison wrote, um, as I read in the book, in my first book, the Chant and Be Happy, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So I'm trying to give you a feast. Some are hits, some are miss. But all those meals I've made with love, please eat up to your neck. Or just nibble a little bit. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So yes, Yuki, or Nanashi, is the son of Toyosa Tomimi no Miko and Kanzana Miyuka, as I've told you in the last part. So once again, I would just expected Nanashi to be either just a vanilla human, and then, Miko came into the mix because reasons, and then because he has green hair, and in my first draft, Miko actually had, a full team of, no, this, I chose the team she was with my writing playlist, which is basically filled with Toho Project music, and I had Alice Margatroyd, Shiki Eiki Yamazanatu, Kanzana Miyuka, and Rin Kainbo. And this was all at random, okay? I didn't choose them. I was expecting, I don't have very powerful people there, but they just happened to be like that. And, well, stuff happened. Was it because it got stolen? I don't remember what happened, but I've lost this chapter, and I thought that it was stupid in the first place, so I had to rewrite the whole thing. And, well, in the end, the artifact of also I'd read in the wikia that Nanashi has greenish hair, and I'm like, okay, I could have taken any other person, but like, yeah, okay, he's Yuka's son. And yeah, basically Yuki was born from a seed put in a fake womb of Prince Toyosato Miko. Crazy? Yes. Convoluted? Yes. Could it have been, a immaculate conception? Absolutely. Anyway, good night, good evening. I love you. Hang on. It's coming at an end. Just be safe. Don't be COVIDiots. And we're all going to go through this. Trust me, we're all coming out.